India has made a major power play which has the potential to reshape war-torn Myanmar, and it could be the first step towards ending a never-ending civil war. In a major diplomatic victory, India has facilitated a ceasefire and merger of two major pro-democracy rebel groups from Myanmar's Chin state, which borders India. Now, these groups are the Chin Land Council and the Interim Chin National Consultative Council, or ICNCC. These two rebel groups have now merged into one, Chin National Council, or CNC. Now, what's surprising is that the agreement was signed in the Indian state of Mizoram's capital, Aizawl, on February 27. Now, what makes it even more unexpected is that the signing took place in the presence of Mizoram's Chief Minister, Laldu Homa, and other local leaders. Now, while such operations are usually carried out behind the scenes, the presence of the Indian Chief Minister openly highlights the role played by India. Now, the big question is whether the Chief Minister Laldu Homa moderated the agreement between Myanmar rebel groups by his own will, or whether New Delhi's central government and agencies were also involved. Critics have questioned the Chief Minister, with some raising fears of a cookie Chin Christian state which encompasses territories of India, Myanmar as well as Bangladesh into one. But are these fears merited? Or could instead the Chin state from Myanmar join India's democratic process if the civil war with the military junta prolongs? Will that be the start of Akhand Bharat taking shape? A Mizoram MP has now revealed to The Hindu that he crossed into Myanmar after informing the governor and the Indian army. Once there, he asked the Chin rebels to join the Indian Union due to close cultural and ethnic bonds. So will New Delhi and Myanmar agree that these regions should become part of Greater India? Sources in the Mizoram state government informed NDTV that this move to unite the Chin factions was, in fact, in sync with the central government. A Mizoram government source was quoted in NDTV saying, quote, "A well-publicized meeting of this level cannot be done without centre's permission. Those criticizing the Chief Minister and taking pot shots at him do not understand any of this," unquote. But the Indian Ministry of External Affairs did not exactly clarify whether they directed the Mizoram Chief Minister to mediate this peace process.
These issues do not lie within the remit of state governments.
So is the Ministry of External Affairs saying that they orchestrated the peace deal? Or is the MEA saying that Mizoram Chief Minister acted on his own accord? We'll wait for the government to clarify further. The unification of these factions, which have been engaged in resistance against the Myanmar's military junta since 2021 coup, is seen as a crucial step in strengthening the pro-democracy movement in Myanmar. Representatives from the armed wings of the Chin National Army and the Chin Brotherhood were also present at the event in India's Mizoram. The merger is expected to bring cohesion to the resistance movement and could enhance strategic efforts against the Myanmar military regime. For India, this pact is vital to safeguard its own border defense and security. This merger means fewer border incidents or incursions and a more predictable neighborly entity to engage with, rather than fragmented factions with competing agendas. Let's understand why Mizoram moderated this merger. Mizoram legislator Lalmuan Phuya Punte, who is also the political advisor to the Chief Minister, told HT, quote, "Security threat on the Indian side of Mizoram looms if political situation in Chin state is unstable. Uniting factions of the Chin armed forces has been for long in our radar. Unified, I believe the Chin resistance will reach new heights in deposing the military rule," unquote. Mizoram, which shares a 510-kilometer-long border with Myanmar, has long been a haven for refugees and activists fleeing the junta's crackdown. More than 30,000 people, including Myanmar's ministers, MPs and police personnel, have taken shelter in this small Indian state as India has allowed them refuge on humanitarian grounds. 13 townships across the state, that is the Chin state, including the Myanmar-India border town of Rikhaudar, are under Chin resistance control. Now, this was claimed by the new governing body member Jacob B. Zoma. But why did Mizoram Chief Minister border this peace? And can this lead to the start of a larger peace process? Mizoram legislator Lalmohn Phouya Punte, political advisor to Chief Minister Laldu Homa, emphasized this point, noting that an unstable Chin state poses a security threat on the Indian side of Mizoram, and a united Chin resistance could strengthen efforts to confront the junta, thereby fostering longer-term stability. Mizoram's ethnic and cultural ties with Myanmar's Chin alongside Indian Mizo and Kuki communities played a crucial role in the state's active support for Burma's pro-democracy movement. The Chin groups inside Myanmar also have the support from the National Unity Government within Myanmar, which oppose the military rule. Mizoram Chief Minister Laldu Homa, a leader of Zoram People's Movement, has consistently voiced support for these ethnic groups. Reports indicate that Mizoram legislator Punte mediated the talks at the request of India's Ministry of External Affairs. A source told HT, quote, "Advocacy for Peace has conducted multiple rounds of negotiations with various Chin factions in Myanmar since last year, with the Mizoram Chief Minister closely monitoring the process. The Ministry of External Affairs viewed the unstable political situation in the Chin state as a potential security threat to Mizoram, which shares a 510-kilometer border with Myanmar. While the Chin resistance has gained control over more than 80% of its territory, Myanmar's military regime still continues to hold key areas such as Hakha, the Chin state capital. The unification of armed forces is expected to bolster the resistance and provide a unified front to take on the military regime. The armed wing of the newly merged CNC are currently strategizing the formulation of a unified Chin resistance force. India's involvement in Myanmar's ever-evolving political landscape is also influenced by broader strategic interests. The Kaladan Multimodal Transit Transport Project, or the KMTTP, a crucial infrastructure initiative linking India's northeastern states to Myanmar's Sittwe port, has been affected by the ongoing civil war. Analysts suggest that India's engagement with Chin resistance groups could serve as a counterbalance to China's growing influence inside Myanmar as well, where it has brokered peace deals with the Myanmar military junta as well as other ethnic factions. Adding further complexity to the issue, the centre has reimposed the protected area permit for Mizoram-Myanmar border to stop the flow of foreigners entering Myanmar. The Mizoram Chief Minister himself revealed how foreigners entered Myanmar via Mizoram and are giving training to Chin rebel groups. So who is arming and training the Myanmar rebels, and is India's role only limited to the peace process? Mizoram Chief Minister revealed, quote, "In the present geopolitics, the situation in our neighboring country is being closely viewed by different countries, including China and the US. As this is the case, the situation of Mizoram being used by foreigners as a transit route has become a grave concern for the centre, which prompted the reimposition of the protected area permit in the state." So will Myanmar's other various armed groups or ethnic insurgent groups as well join this accord initiated by India? Now, one of the strongest of these armed groups is the Arakan Army, based in Myanmar's Rakhine state. The Arakan Army is fighting for autonomy or self-determination against the Myanmar military rule. They now control highly strategic coastal region as well as the strategic border with Bangladesh. The Arakan Army joining this peace initiative could be a huge victory for the movement. Latest reports suggest the Arakan Army has attacked a key Chinese economic zone in western Myanmar. This includes the Kyaukphyu economic zone, which is key for China's Belt and Road Initiative. Capture of these regions from the military regime would be a huge blow to Chinese economic interests in the entire region. However, there is no indication that the Arakan Army, which remains focused on its Myanmar campaign, would pivot to join a Mizoram-specific peace process as of now. Still, the recent development is an indication of India's growing clout and strategic role as an Indo-Pacific power, one that can reshape this entire region and initiate long-desired peace. If you found this news report informative, then leave a comment, hit the like button and subscribe to Inconnect News.